So what I used here, this is a smart sheet, and what I did on here, I don't know if you can see the texture or not, but I used icing sheets that I made into a paste, almost like a spackle kind of paste. It's about the consistency of toothpaste. Um, so what I did, I'll flip this over so you can see over here. You can probably see the outline.
Yes, very well.
So I hand drew my mermaid.
That's hand
How I,
drawn.
yep,
That's
how
a
I wanted her to look.
wow.
And then I took my paste that I put in a piping bag. So it looks like a lot like royal icing. Um, and I just piped all of this texture on here. And the cool thing about using icing sheets as your piping medium is you can manipulate it so easily with just one consistency. So it's like toothpaste. So I'm going to squirt a tiny little bit out here. Of course, the end's stuck. There we go. So I have a really thin, a small tip cut in this bag. I just use tipless bags. But it pipes very similar to royal icing. See that? I can drag a line
Yeah.
really easy. How cool is that?
It looks a
Um,
little more rubbery than a royal.
it is, but it holds itself really well, very similar to how royal holds. Um, the thing that is really neat about it is, for one thing, um, there's no cratering, so you can put this on as thick as you want onto your cookie, onto paper, onto whatever you're piping on, and it won't crater.
Okay.
That's what I do for piping smart sheets and on the pearl demo.
Okay. So I just got confirmation. I did see it once before. It was
Okay,
a Canadian. It was a year and a half ago. Susan Trianos did tattoos on cakes doing that as well.
that's right. She did, didn't she?
She did.
Okay. So the cool thing, the one of the really cool things that, well, I think it's really cool anyway, in my opinion, versus using Royal, is I put this in the freezer in this bag and I froze it, and it froze solid. Now my Royal icing doesn't freeze solid. It still has a little give to the bag when I take it out. This was frozen solid. But when it thawed, there was no separation.
Hmm.
With royal icing, it separates and you have to remix it. There was zero separation in this. That was
Interesting.
super cool. So there's a lot of benefit to using this, plus using scraps. Like, keep your scraps. There's all kinds of people I've seen on the Icing Images, everything Icing Images page in the group, saying, that they ruined icing sheets, blah, blah, blah. Don't throw them away. Keep them and make a paste out of them and use them in case you don't have royal icing. You know
Uh,
what I mean? I feel like I'm frozen. Am I frozen?
no, you're not frozen. I'm seeing you beautifully.
Okay.
So now, will you tell us your recipe for that as well? Oh, you're going to.
Well,
I can tell. I can tell. Okay.
to be honest, I wing it.
Okay.
So I take my little scrap pieces of icing sheets. I take the backing off, obviously, because that wouldn't taste yummy. Besides that, it doesn't break down. So take your acetate off. Save your acetate. I don't usually save little pieces like this, but save your bigger pieces. Um, and then take water and just snip little tiny pieces. So I'm just going to show you the size that I snip because I'm not going to actually put it in my water because I need the water for painting. Um, so I just do little pieces like this, and it helps to break down faster. Um, if you're putting it in, well, when you put water on anything, you should always refrigerate it after you're done using it for whatever time period you're using it. So if you're piping this for an hour and then you're done until tomorrow, put it in the refrigerator. It'll keep for a couple of days in the refrigerator, and then I would suggest freezing it, and it will freeze for months. It's awesome. So it's similar to royal icing in that way as well, because then you can just use it whenever you want to.
Now,
I've done.
just so you're aware, now our late chef Nicholas Lodge, he created a clay. It would be denser
Yes,
than this.
Yes.
with our sheets as well. That's on our videos on YouTube.
Right. So these are the smart sheets.
Yay, smart sheets.
Smart sheets. And they come in a lovely little bag like this. So what I'll do is I'm just going to get one out. It's the other half of this sheet. And you can use either side of this. So there's one side that has that rough texture. It's got a nice tooth on it, almost like a watercolor paper. I love this side because I love to paint. I gotta find somewhere to put this. Just a second. Oh, there we go. So you could paint, you could pipe on this side as well, but I prefer this side. Now, one thing that I did do is I sprayed the back of the paper, only the back, with paper potion, just so that the moisture from my icing sheet piping bag wouldn't warp my paper too much. You see what I mean? Because you're putting a wet surface onto a dry surface and it'll start to crease it. You can kind of see it here where it did it a little bit, started to crease it. So I did that just to give it a little extra flexibility. So that is one way I did it. And I'm just going to flip this over. No, I can't do it that way. Never mind. We're not going to do it that way. I was just going to trace it, but I'm not going to do it that way. So what I am going to do is I'll show you the transfer. So what I did here is I traced my mermaid. Can you see that, Deb?
Yeah.
Okay. So I traced the mermaid just with one of the markers. That's not it. Where's my marker? I'll pull this one up. So one of my food doodlers from Icing Images. And I just traced just a line drawing of what I had drawn on the smart sheet. So I could do a transfer instead. So I'm going to slide this out of the way. I'm trying to think of what I can put that on that's going to, we'll be able to see it better. Maybe I'll do it on here. That might be able to be better. Okay. Can you see that better or is it still too glary?
I think we're okay.
Okay. All right. So I piped this and I'm actually going to bring it up so you can see how thick it is because I did quite a thick piping job on it. Can you see how thick it is?
Yeah, good job.
So I did that because even though icing sheets are nice and super thin, when you change the consistency of the icing sheet and put it on as a transfer, when it's thin, it's going to crack. So you have to put a nice thick layer on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just, actually, I'm going to show you this first. So I'll show you how it actually will peel right off. Ta-da! There you go. I'm not going to peel her completely, but she will peel right off. See that?
And she's not rubbery, but she's pliable, flexible.
She's flexible to a point. Like, see, I can lift this up and she's not breaking.
Okay.
But I wouldn't like try to fold her or anything like that because she'll snap if you try to fold. But she's got quite a bit of flexibility. See, I'll bring it up closer.
So if you want to make her tail wavy, for example, can you like make it like drape it over a ball and it will hold that shape as it dries?
Yes. And what I would do if I wanted the tail to have movement like that,
Uh-huh.
I would pipe the tail separately.
Okay.
So if I was putting on a cake and I wanted it to look like it was cascading over a rock, like the Little Mermaid, for instance, then I would do it separate so I could attach that separately and then it would have its own movement, its own shape, and there's no risk of breaking it.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just twist my bag off like this.
Okay. And wait, I'm going to stop you again. Right now, you're using an icing sheet that you snipped into little pieces and you added it to room temperature water?
Yes, I used room temperature.
Until it got to a toothpaste consistency. So you put it in, it dissolved by itself. Did you have to mix it?
I mixed it and then I let it sit for a couple of hours and then I went back and mixed it again. And then I actually put it through a sieve. Just pushed it on through to make sure that I didn't have any lumps.
Okay.
Because some of the icing sheets, like it just depends on how long you let them sit. And I was rushing it because I wanted it done. So I just pushed it through the sieve and it worked perfectly.
Okay.
So it's nice and smooth.
All right. Any,
Okay, so
any, ask any questions if you have any questions about the way she created it, that paste.
yeah, ask me about it. So I'm just gonna start in here and I'm gonna just fill this in. And don't mind me, I shake like a leaf when I'm piping. I can't help it. I could never be a surgeon. I've always said that. So I've just filled that line in. I'm going to turn it this way. Maybe you'll be able to see it better. My hand's not in the way. And I'm actually just going to push the icing sheet paste right in around the mermaid's body. But you see how thick I'm making that? Like I'm not going gently with this. I'm putting a lot on.
Now, could you make the tip like thicker?
You could, but because I'm doing such thin lines on the outside edge, I wanted it thin. You can do whatever size you feel comfortable with,
It
but
looks
this
like
is
it's easier to pipe those lines than Royal is. I could be wrong because I don't pipe. You guys know that. But just from what I've seen,
what was it? Sorry.
is it easier to pipe the thin lines than like say Royal would be?
I think it's about the same, to be
Okay.
honest. It's there's not much difference to me. Now, filling in is different because it's so thick,
Uh-huh.
but I wanted it thick because I wanted it to dry fast. I wanted to be able to manipulate it after I get it piped on. And I'll show you what I mean once I get this piped in.
Okay. While you finish that, Joyce, Joyce is not clear exactly how you proportioned the water to the icing sheets.
Okay, so what I do, I kind of do it all by eye. And I don't put a lot of water in at first. I put, I think this bag is 2 icing sheets worth of scraps. And I put probably a tablespoon of water in with it.
Okay.
And then I found it was too thin. So I actually added another quarter of a sheet of scrap that I had
Hmm.
just to thicken it up. That's what I did.
Okay.
So,
Until you get to the consistency of toothpaste,
right,
and then you put it through a sieve to make sure there weren't any chunks at all left in it that needed to
right.
be dissolved. But
That's right.
you cut it into very fine pieces because it melts easier than if you just throw a whole icing sheet in there.
Right, because it'll take too long to break down
Yeah.
if you put a whole icing sheet in.
Okay.
Okay, so I
One more
piped that
question.
pretty thick.
Okay. When you're piping, are you touching the bag to the surface?
I did just there because I wanted to fill in some spots that
Uh-huh.
looked a little thin.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm taking a little bit of water on my brush.
And where do you get that?
Pardon me?
Sorry. I said, and where do you get that?
What? My water?
Water, I'm teasing. Never mind.
My agua.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to smooth this out because unlike royal icing, this stuff doesn't smooth out fast on its own. So I'm taking my brush and just with a little bit of water on it, not a lot, and just moving it to smooth it out.
And can you add flavoring to it? Carol Ann wants to know.
Oh yeah, you could totally. You could put perfect palette with it, anything really. But I mean, the icing sheets already have a great flavor anyway.
Yeah, it's vanilla.
It's a really nice vanilla flavor. So, but if you wanted to, you sure could.
Okay.
Okay, so now I've got that smoothed out. But if I want to add dimension to it, again, with a little bit of water on my brush, and I might pick up some of that black marker, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take my brush at an angle. Oops, I put too much. Need a little more water, I guess. So I'm putting my brush at an angle and I'm just pushing the side of that. It's actually her hair. So this big blob is part of her hair. And I'm just pushing it up a little bit so that it has a better edge on it. just to give some more dimension. So then what I'm going to do is to make it look like hair. And you can let this dry a little bit if you want to before you do this. One thing I did is I did it and then I went back in and did it again. But I took a little bit of water in my brush, and to make it look like she has curly hair, I just did little swirls.
So it's taking the swirls, even though, I mean, it really hasn't had time to dry or anything.
No, it hasn't had time to dry. Now it will start settling back in on itself, but I just kept going back in over it again to make sure that they stayed where I wanted them to.
Okay. And then am I seeing a line between the new part and the old part?
Where? Here? Yeah.
Okay.
You're seeing like the dark line, that's from the marker.
Okay.
But when you go to paint it, you won't even notice that once it's dry.
Okay.
So I'm not going to paint this one because it's not dry, but I'll paint the other one. So yeah, so you just keep adding in detail wherever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And texture. And then as it dries, like I said, you can go back and keep going. See, this one's starting to fill in, and it's because I've got it quite thick, and that's the reason why I wanted it thick though, so I can manipulate it to make it look more like hair.
Gotcha.
So that's how I did that.
Carol Fisher says hello to everybody.
Hi, Carol.
Carol, yay! And so does Becky. Only says hi to you.
Oh, hi, Becky.
um, Jessie Ann wants to know, for smoothing, have you tried heating or applying it to warm? I don't know.
I didn't see. Applying it to warm? I don't know what she means.
Okay, she'll tell us in a minute.
Okay.
Marilyn says juggling today. I wonder whether she really is juggling. Wanted to at least pop in and say hi, Heather and Deb. We will be back for the replay. So cool from that clever brain. And Stacy says that seems really workable. Have you tried typing letters with it?
No, let's try right now.
Okay. Squirrel. Becky Norton sent me a Dropbox folder today, and it said it was from Rebecca Norton, and I'm like, who the heck is this person? I feel like I should know her, so she's giving me, yeah.
Well, that's funny. I messed up my E, Stacy, but it's there.
All right, so she's saying applying it while it's warm. That's what Jessie Ann means.
Oh no, I have not done that because I didn't actually make it warm. I made it cold, like with room temperature water.
Yeah, I think when Chef Lodge made his paste, he would warm it in certain intervals. It was this whole
right
process. It was cool. And Donald Joyner has joined us.
Hi, Donald. Oops.
I think Donald is doing a really cool class at the Simi Retreat this January.
Oh, awesome.
So Sid, if you want to put up that information about
oh, there you go. That's as good as it gets tonight. Heather.
Yay. It's backwards for us. That's okay. So type letters. And
so you can pipe letters. You could even pipe, if you wanted confetti, you could pipe confetti if you wanted to, be that crazy and do that. But you could, so, pipe some stars.
All right. And okay, so Jessie Ann says if you apply it while it's warm, that works. So she knew that answer.
Cool.
And Marilyn says Rebecca is Becky's evil twin. So, yeah, makes sense.
Donald, you were worth waiting for, Becky says.
That's in January, guys. If you haven't signed up for it yet, sign up for it. It's the best time ever.
Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to move on. How are we doing for time?
I don't know. What time is it? It's 7:33.
Okay, we're doing okay. All right. So I'm going to move on and show you something else that I have fun doing with one of the products from Icing Images. So I keep grabbing the wrong marker. So I take food markers and these food doodlers, and I use them to do lots of things. Like I use them to paint cello sheets and make them look like watercolor. So as soon as you doodle on the cello sheet, you can put it in water and immediately you have a watercolor effect with whatever you're doing with the cello sheets. So on one of my demos, I made my flower, and that's what I did is I used food doodlers. So what I do to make paint, instead of just doodling on cello sheets, I take this and I just do a little squiggle. Can you see that, Debbie?
Yeah, now we can. Thank you.
Okay. So do a little squiggle. And then I take my paper potion
Yay, paper puzzle.
and I just put a little tiny squirt near that doodle. And then I'm going to dab into my paper potion and dab into my food doodler pen. And then I'm going to just start to paint.
So it doesn't hurt the marker to get it wet like that?
This wasn't wet. This went on dry. Just like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Went
Okay.
on dry. And then
Gotcha.
I just put that away
It
and
just
just
went on
grabbed,
the tape.
yep, grabbed the paper potion and made my paint.
Gotcha. Oh, that would be, again, a good use for the small scraps of acetate
Yes.
that you don't keep.
And I keep them all
Okay.
because I use them all.
Okay.
So isn't that pretty?
Oh, yeah.
It's such a pretty job.
I like because it's very watercolor-esque.
I know. That's why I like it too. It gives you more control instead of just taking a marker and trying to mark on that. Like, I mean, I'll show you. I can mark on here, and it's such a hard line.
Yeah.
And then I can take this in, sure, some of my paper potion, and I can try to blend that out. But as I'm blending it, it actually is roughing up the surface more of the paper.
Yeah.
So I actually like it better doing it this way, just taking your acetate, taking a little bit of paper potion and blending it out.
How you guys doing? Any questions coming up? Oh, I like how it defines it. That's cool because a lot of it we can't. The detail is now like popping out at us, whereas I couldn't tell some of the detail before. I can see
It's
some.
true. It's kind of muted together. So I'm going to do a little bit more here so you can see. Let's see. I think I'll use some pink.
And you could dry dust it too, couldn't you?
Yes, absolutely. My pink seems to be dried out. No.
No.
Oh, there's some. There's some coming. Yay. Here we go. And you can take this and go read over the edges with it. But you can also, instead, if you really want to bling this up, you can use some of Pepsi Cakes dust.
Yay, Pepsi Cakes dust. I will give that link too. That is a highlighter dust that
Yes, the
is
highlight dust.
truly edible.
And it's lovely to work with. I love it. I use it a lot, obviously, because I'm out of two of them. I'm out of two. So I only have my silver left. Dang it. So what I will do is put a little tiny bit. Normally I have a little spoon, but I didn't get one out. So whatever. Oops, that's too much. And you don't need a whole lot to do a project. You just need a little tiny bit. So that's all I have in my cap, that little bit. And then I'm just going to put some of my paper potion in here. Just did one little squirt. And then I'm going to take it and mix it together. I love making paint out of this. It's great paint. Isn't that beautiful?
It is.
So pretty. And then I can just go along and paint the edges where I piped. To really make them pop.
I see, okay, I see, like with Halloween coming up, like the veins in a hand.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing. That would look really cool.
Yeah.
Veins in anything. Halloween. Woo!
Yay, Halloween.
I don't want to rush summer away, but I can't wait for Halloween.
Well, they should make Halloween 3 times a year.
They really should. I
Yeah,
mean,
4 times, one for each season.
it's true. There's lots of holidays we don't need. We could just do that. Technically, Halloween is every day for me because we love Halloween in this house.
It's
I have a black Christmas tree that stays up year round, and it's decorated all in Halloween theme. Yes, it is.
oh my gosh.
Oh, I just stuck my finger in my star. Whoops. Oopsie. Whew. Good thing I've got paper towel handy.
Is there a song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, How I Stick My Finger in You? Yeah, it's not working.
So, isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. It's so pretty.
Oh wow! Yeah, couldn't even appreciate what it was until when you turned it a little bit. We could see the sides of what you were painting that we couldn't see when it was laying flat. So if you kind of move it back and forth, or like a little bit up and down,
Can you see it now?
yeah, just so that we can focus in on some of the there, right there.
Okay.
That's so cool.
Isn't that pretty? I
Yes,
love it. I
awesome.
love it. So I'll just do a little bit more here. Oops. Get back under there. Okay. I'm going to dry dust just so you can see how the dry dust works on it. And again, I'm just going to use a little bit of my silver.
Silver and gold, silver and gold. Yeah, so that's the edible highlighter dust. That's
Yes.
available on our site. I put the link up, and everybody's loving this. Loving it.
But see, that really pops all your details start to pop out.
Oh yeah.
It's so pretty. I love it.